My presentation is on Horace Mann, who is also known as the father of American education. Horace Mann was born on May 4th in 1796 in Franklin, Massachusetts. He was born into a pretty poor family. His father was a farmer, and so because of that, he was only able to go to school actually around 6 weeks every year. Um, but because he couldn't go to school, what he did is he basically just taught himself his whole life. So he would go to the library, he would read lots of books, and he would just educate himself. Um, so after his younger years, he applied to Brown University, and he got accepted into Brown when he was 20 years old. And at Brown University, he studied politics, education, and social reform. And then after he graduated from Brown University, he went on to go to law school. In 1827, Horace Mann won a seat in the House of Representatives, where he served for 6 years. Then in 1835, he served in the Massachusetts State Senate. While he was on the Senate, he joined the Board of Education, which was created, and he actually served as the secretary on that. And the Board of Education in Massachusetts, it was actually one of the very first ones in the country. But while he was on that board, what he did is he went and he visited a bunch of schools around the country, and what he found from those schools he did not like very much. He saw things like segregation between the students. They didn't have proper materials that they needed. Some schools didn't even have chalkboards. And the teachers that were teaching, he noticed that they had not been properly trained. So what Mann did after he visited all those different schools and saw what he saw is he came up with the idea of the common curriculum, which made education opportunities equal for everyone. And these common curriculums, they made up the common schools, which was paid for by taxes. So it was government funded. In education, it was free. So even those who couldn't afford education before, they were now able to attend school because it was free education. And the curriculum for the common schools, the common curriculum was based off of the Bible because it was common among most people. But the classes, they were taught the Bible by the Protestant view, which started causing problems, obviously, with other religions, such as the Catholics. So then the Catholics, they started wanting to have their schools that taught the Catholic way. And so they started asking the government if they could have their schools funded by that. But it started causing problems with all the other religions. And so finally in 1875, Ulysses S. Grant, he came out and he said that any school that taught religion, it wouldn't be funded by the government. So basically any public school that was being funded by those taxes, they would not teach religion. That way it would be able to incorporate all of the students. Another thing that they implemented with these common schools was having female teachers. They believed that females were better fit to teach young students because they were less harsh and less crude than men, and they had more of a loving and nurturing nature to teach and care for children. Another reason women were ideal for teaching is because they only needed just almost half the salary as a man, so it was much cheaper for them to hire women. Along with the low salary for female teachers came very, very strict rules that they had to abide by that were set by the schools that they taught at. And if they didn't abide by those tight rules, then they would be fired from their job. They wouldn't be able to teach anymore. And sometimes those rules were even things like they were allowed to get married while they were teaching. Horace Mann's idea of a common school, it wasn't a perfect school, but we made some changes along the way, and it definitely provided a pretty good foundation for even the system that our public schools today use. And so I'm grateful for Horace Mann so that we can have equal public schools today that give everybody, no matter who you are or where you are from, an opportunity to go to school.